country, they've always been stagnating on a high, but stagnating, no coming down. Meaning that indeed, Boda Boda safety in the country is not an issue that you would say we've managed to get to. This morning, therefore, I want us to look into that particular area. And joining us this morning then to get into this conversation is Samuel Musumba, who's a manager, road safety and strategist. How are you doing, sir?
I'm okay. How are you?
Fantastic.
Glad to have me here this morning.
Let's start from a personal level. It's not the first time we're hearing about Boda Boda road safety training. Boda Boda riders getting trained on an issue. No, it's not. But when you look at the stats of accidents in the country that have been caused by Boda Boda riders, I'm not saying that they're rising. Somebody will tell you they're not rising, but they're always on a high. Meaning that even as we train more, and I urge majority of them then to get this training, there are those that are rogue, that are never going to listen. And we're talking about this. Let me start like this. Do you think we're ever going to get to a place where Boda Boda accidents will be on the law in the country?
Oh, thank you. I think looking at where we are as a country,
Yes.
Particularly looking at the Boda Boda sector, we've come a long way, I would say.
Yes.
But again, as we have come a long way, the numbers have increased, particularly now the riders joining that sector are on the rise every other day. And that has not been commensurate with perhaps now the enforcement of the laws.
No, sir.
It has taken us a bit of some time. Because if you look at the statistics from the 2000s, at that time, during the Kibaki government, the late Excellency Kibaki, we had very few bikes then. Actually, we were registering close to about 6,000 only in the country. But come during that time of His Excellency Kibaki's time, then there was that wave on taxes to import these bikes. That's when the numbers just went like, so high. As it is now, we're about 2.3 million, registered. So that tells that the number has actually been increasing. That means also that the people joining that industry are really, high.
Yes.
Now, our regulations came into being in 2015. That's almost 3 years after NTSA has come into place. So that means then you have to operationalize this law. You have to keep now, looking at it, educating these guys and all that. But when you look at that period before the law, so much had happened. I always compare it with a child who has been smoking bang for like 10 years. Now you want to,
you want to get them out.
Just change him, like that. It takes time.
Yeah,
it takes time. But there's hope because now, looking at the way we have implemented that law, it's very structured. We began not with enforcement per se, but we said, look, how do we make sure that this child who has been doing all this wrong all this while, how do we make this child to really understand that this works for him, which is a behavior kind of thing. It takes a bit of time. So we've been there and we've been pushing them into trainings because that is the only place that they can actually get this information from. Information on where to drive, where to ride, information on use of helmets, information of my carrying capacity and all that. It's only through training. The challenge we had was the kind of schools then, the driving schools which were there, were not accommodating this group of people. A little bit biased to just the drivers who drive vehicles. So you could go to a school and say, I want to enroll for this class. Not many schools were comfortable to pick these guys on. So that again was a big gap. So what we did was said, for us to address this gap, then we need to license fuel rider schools and also encourage these other schools to introduce those classes. And actually, hence, we came up with a new curriculum that would accommodate now that class,
yes,
and make it also business for this driving school. Because then they were not seeing even a sense of, training. These guys would say, let them go. So we've had really, I would say it's been a journey, if you look at it. But over time now we've structured it. The trainings are now very structured. There are schools now offering that class, which is now class A. And the new curriculum now it's well defined. Because then it was under class, FG, which was not very clear even that time. But we've structured it now. You go to school, you actually go for that class A2, A3 for the tuk-tuk guys. So it's a bit more structured, and schools now are accepting them, over time. Of course, we have also had other spirited campaigns around just pushing these guys into going to train. Not so long ago, we began a nationwide campaign. These guys will actually go to NYS and get some training. So we'll actually go to where they are, because they're also difficult to come to school.
Does it?
So we said, okay, as government, we can't just sit here and wait. Let's go and get these guys where they are, because really they know how to ride, but how do we just make sure that they get the right trainings and all that? So a lot has really gone into making this sector really work and safely, so to speak. So I would say, yes, there's hope. As much as, if you look at the incidences then related to the Boda Boda sector, they're really increasing.
Yes.
But I would say where we're heading to, the way we have structured the trainings, we are now putting them into circles, so that they're like the PSV guys, matatus and all that. Very structured way of doing it. And through the circles now, you're introducing leadership as well. So through that leadership, you can actually tap into them and say, hey, look, let's do the right thing. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So over time, we are seeing that the future is
not really that far, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you talk about 2015, as when we completely figured out what we wanted to do with this particular sector, you count 7 food years down the line, but don't want to count 2023 because we're not essentially done with it. 7 years to turn around a sector that is growing enormously on a daily basis is not little work, isn't it?
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's a pain when people tell you, hey, why don't you just fix this thing? It needs time.
It does need time, isn't it?
Time.
Yeah, it does need time.
Yeah.
So let's address one particular area on road use and safety of road use. Majority of these guys will tell you, I'm a rider. I don't need a driving school to not ride a Boda Boda. Something that I can learn in less than 2 weeks. I'm on the road. But on the road use and safety, I started my introduction by saying that nowadays when I drive, I'm always aware, always, as if they've been told so, that somebody is going to overtake you from the wrong side, from your complete blind spot. On this particular area, how are you addressing it? That indeed, we know how nimble Boda Bodas are. That's why majority of Kenyans love them. They're used heavily in Nairobi just for that. When a big traffic, use it. But then in the sense of using the Boda Boda then to beat traffic, how are you approaching this issue for road use and safety? Somebody would say that it would be a beautiful picture to have a Boda Boda sector that is disciplined. One of the areas that they're talking about in that discipline is just on road use and safety. Only that.
Like I said, the challenge has been these guys having the right knowledge, the right skills to do some of these things. And just because they have not been well trained. If you sample some of them here, they'll tell you, I'm a rider, I know how to ride. You ask them where they learned this, and they'll sometimes go quiet because they know where they trained from. Somewhere, and then they came to the road.
In the field somewhere.
So that tells you that they lack that knowledge in terms of then where am I supposed to be riding from? These are lights, the red light. I'm a rider. I'm a driver for heaven's sake. These are motorbike. Motor means
it's a motor.
Yeah. So I don't have to behave like, hey, these lights don't apply to me. They apply to other people. So that has been really lacking. But again, we've really tried to do a lot of just awareness campaigns around that, even just to reach them and tell them, look, just don't do that. Don't do the other thing. I also tell you that we've tried even enforcement. But enforcement, these guys arresting them, sometimes it's just a nightmare. The moment you try to crack down and they fly, You want to arrest one of them,
they're off the road completely.
They're off the road completely, or now ride wrongly completely, very dangerously, and all that. But now what we are doing is, as we create this awareness, we're also now working very closely with the county governments, because again, transport is a devolved function in the new constitution.
Yes.
And part of the devolved functions of transport is putting these guys into a very well-organized way of doing business. Pick-up points, it's the counties which designate them for that. Drop-off points, even the working hours, the counties need to do that. So one of the things that we have really been doing with the counties is to establish even where they're supposed to operate from. How are they supposed to move, Because these are public service transport, for every say. They're public service transport. They just need to be organized,
Yes.
They're not private like riders or courier services who will come and maybe drop something here. These are public. So we need just to control even their routes. If a guy operates from here, just drop in town, somebody needs to come back to his place where he's supposed to work from. So we work with the county governments to really see how do we structure that. At the county government level, we have a structure called the County Transport and Safety Committees. This is within the law. Our Traffic Act provides for, our Act, NTC Act, provides that we work with the county governments through that structure.
Yes.
Because that's the spirit again of devolution, that we have to complement each other, the two governments, national government and the county government. So we are working out those modalities of controlling, so they don't have to be riding on the pavement, wrong side and all that, including now also enforcement. But the counties need to come in and just enforce this. Very good example, go to Kisumu today, well controlled. How did they do it? It is that kind of arrangement. If you go to Kisumu County, that town alone, so structured, where the tuk-tuks pick guys from, drop off, they can't access certain areas and all that. It's really well organized. And we say, yeah, it's possible. It can be done. So we hope that over time, this will see the light of day, that these guys are well structured in terms of where they move, where they drop off their passengers, pick up their passengers, given the working hours and all that. And of concern also now, it has become a security issue, because if these guys work beyond certain hours, then they're used by the wrong guys.
Yeah.
So also the Ministry of Interior is also now coming in to say, hey, how do we also regulate in terms of those operation hours, and because there's a security challenge as well.
Yeah.
So we are seeing that this kind of efforts, and with the trainings now coming along, with all these efforts, we should be able to see change order as well. And as we push them now into circles, then we should be asking the circles, look, that is your member.
Why
are they behaving like this? Why did he cross the red lights? Why did he do that? And that should be able to help us to really, control this. The lessons we learned from the Kiambu Forest Road incident, where these guys just went and went amok and started harassing this lady. It was so embarrassing, for us as a country. And this lady was a diplomat. If you can imagine, it even costed us, some meetings, as a country. It was not a very good thing. And that guy, we took him to court and he's serving some jail time.
Yes.
Lessons learned. And that time before that, these guys were even burning people's vehicles. Remember, he knocks you and then they calls each other, they burn your vehicle. That has now ceased. Because when we took that action, and now we went even further to start now registering these guys, where they operate from. We register you, through that structure, where the chief from the location level, sub-location, and all that. We have registered them. We have now their data. So we're saying, hey, look, if you do anything stupid like this, they will come for you. Because we have your data. So where we sit as a regulator, we want to believe that all these efforts should be able to structure these guys, should be able to control even this kind of behavior over time. It will take a bit of time, but we are getting there. If the county is now going to really get hold of this and really control that sector, the way now we have proposed, oh my goodness, it'll be a very...
Things are going to start changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So somebody said this. It's a good thing that you hear, so that we could see whether that could be a solution as well. I said that nowadays it's easy to buy a Boda Boda. Today I could decide to go buy a Boda Boda today. Just walk out from here, go get a Boda Boda, go home with it. They said, why can't we change the rules of buying a Boda Boda in the country? That all these merchants in the country who are selling these Boda Bodas, that at the point of purchase, before you give out that Boda Boda to that rider, then what they're presenting to you is a driving license from a qualified driving school, so that when you are essentially buying that Boda Boda rider is getting registered fully, so that data then can start to be built from that end. And they went ahead and say this, Mr. Musumba, it's a good thing you're here as well. They say that unless you are selling this to a company, then maybe any other person who comes to buy a Boda Boda should come to you afresh, proper registration. Do you think that will change the ecosystem where you're only selling this to riders who are essentially certified with licenses in the country to ride, gone through proper training, so that if you are addressing it from the point of source, because buying a Boda Boda is not like buying a car, you can get it today, that if you're addressing from the source, then it is easier then to start containing or getting those who are not essentially registered. Is it true?
A very good proposal. And I'll tell you this, that actually if you look at the drafters of the law, the 2015 motorcycle regulation, if you read it, that spirit is there. Because it gives responsibility to the rider, responsibility to the owner, who may not necessarily be the rider. You can be an owner of a motorbike, but you give somebody here to ride. In the evening, of course, you still get your money and all that. People do a lot of that. And responsibility to the dealer. Those responsibilities are very well defined. Now, for the rider, responsibility number one is that you must be trained and licensed. Not just licensed, but well licensed. That means you are in that class, trained for that class. A1, A2. Now, A1 is for the small bikes, for the children, but A2, tuk-tuk, A3. Very well clear. It even defines the age, by the way. Because you look at our curriculum, it's aggregated, meaning it's progressive. You grow from one level to the other. It's very clear. For the owner, the responsibility is also very clear. Don't give that bike. Okay, you buy the bike, fine. You could be the adult, you could be the parent, you could be whoever. You buy the bike. But ensure the rider well licensed and all these kind of things. The dealer also, there are those responsibilities. Where the challenge we have in this country, I'll tell you this liberal market economy that we have, where today it's your money that dictates really what you want to get. Today you can buy a vehicle and you've never driven a vehicle, true or false?
That's true.
True. So it has become so liberal that what dictates what I want is my money.
Where's the money?
Get, and people are just doing that.
Yeah.
So I would want to buy. Perhaps I'm even underage. I don't have those documents. They come to you and say, hey, why don't you get me this bike? You got this money. You go to the shop and you buy that. Because we have been very categorical to the dealers. Because we have the association for dealers. And we've had several meetings with them. And every time we tell them, look, don't do this. Don't do that. We've cautioned them again that, including even the helmets and all that. We tell them, if you sell a bike without helmet, they will come for you. If you sell a bike with the wrong helmet, we'll come for you. And that has worked, because dealers know. Serious dealers know. Other than those ones who do it
on the side.
on the side.
So
So those are some of the gaps that we have in the system.
Yes.
That allows now, start seeing this kind of thing where people just buy these things just like that. We've come along. I'll tell you. There are days when guys will buy these bikes from the supermarket, just like you buy bread.
Yeah.
You walk in, you buy milk, you buy. Pack for me this one as well.
Yeah. Get a Boda Boda.
And we said no. It has to be a dealer.
Yes.
A licensed dealer.
Does it?
Nothing like you just talk this thing in a supermarket somewhere and you say, hey, I'm
I'm
selling
gonna
this,
sell-
you know.
yeah,
And those business fellows were very crafty. Because you go there, you buy a bike, and they don't give you the helmet. Instead, they give you a packet of unga. They say, tumekuwekea hata hii ni extra. You know.
it.
Yeah. So you are happy because you have a bike and
And you've
there
got
you
a
go.
present on the side as well.
Exactly. But we said no. It has to be the dealers, licensed, registered in the country
Yes.
as a dealer.
That's it.
You're importing this, you're bringing this, you're assembling, so be it. But you are a recognized dealer. So should we have a problem, we know who to go for.
Yes.
But I would say that as a country, I think there's so much we need to do in terms of containing this liberal market economy that we have. It's a good one, yes. You'll get what you want, but look at what you're getting. You know, you go buy this bike and then you expose this guy to all these dangers.
Yes.
Really, money is there, but should we just use money to flout even the safety rules and all that?
Yes.
It's not right.
I want you to take a minute to address this particular question as well. And these are your biggest critics. Your biggest critics are saying, but you guys are only training Boda Boda riders. Passengers never get any training. To the point that today if you go outside there and ask a passenger, what do I need to see from a Boda Boda rider before I use their bike? Majority of us will not give you that answer.
The answer, yeah, true.
I don't know. You get it? Do you
True.
think that is also part of what we need to do? Like this consumer education, you know? That this is exactly what you need to know if you're going to use a bike today. That we need to increase that so that the market itself forces them to correct. That people are saying there's a possibility for that. That if you essentially go into the consumers themselves, give them so much information, then they will be picky on what they want to see, what they want to use, what they want to experience as a Boda Boda rider uses. Do you think that is an element?
I can't agree with you anymore. It is true. So as a passenger, obviously, you also have a responsibility. At the end of the day, when you're taking this bike, really, and there's no helmet, that hit you. Just to even ask, can I get a helmet? But I'll tell you this: that the first people to reject helmets, use of a helmet, is the passengers. And these riders will tell you. You ask them, why don't you have two helmets? Tell you, how have I? Ladies will tell you, oh, it's my hair. My hair, my choice, my everything. They can't wear those helmets. The time we even began a campaign with the Dettol group here, and we're saying, oh, okay, because many people complain, those helmets are dirty, oh, those helmets are this and that. We said, okay, fine. Clean those helmets, so they were given something to clean the helmets and all that. Still, the uptake of helmet wearing in this country is a bit low. And this actually is more the riders. Well, riders try, sometimes you see them in helmets, but the passengers, they'll tell you no.
That's where the problem
is.
Yes.
You'll find somebody who's on a bike and he's actually holding that helmet in the hand. You're like, really? Is it a show? A show.
Is it a toy?
Forgetting that if you get a head injury today,
Yes.
it's very serious.
Does it?
You can't recover from a head injury easily, you know. If it is a hand, it's a leg, we can fix it.
Yes.
But a head injury, it's not easy to fix.
It's not easy to fix.
So I would say that awareness needs to really go out there. I think we need to put up a serious campaign for passengers to adopt this, to just take up this helmet. I mean, let's enjoy wearing that because it's safer. It better be dirty, but you're safe. In the event of an accident, you better be safe than just fearing to be dirty. It doesn't take a lot to clear the dirt, but it takes a lot to treat a head injury. I agree with you. We need a campaign around that.
Pretty much. Now, here's the thing. Take 15 seconds. That's the only time that we have left for this particular one. From an inside view, outside, Mr. Msuva, on a personal level, how far are we from achieving total sanity within this particular sector?
I would say we are getting there. If I look at where we've come from, and I've been around for some time, working with this sector, I'll tell you we are getting somewhere. We are now fixing the sector into a very structured way, creating leadership in the sector, through the circles. Now we are creating a lot of leadership in that, and you can see the chairmen, the treasurers, and that leadership structure is actually working. There's examples I can mention here, so many, that are now doing so well. They are now even going into investment. They are now even moving from Boda Boda to something else, land and all that. It is a big thing. So where I sit, and with the trainings now we are putting in, government is spending so much resources. The other day you had His Excellency the President launching the UHC program. He said, we'll also give them some subsidized training. It is everybody getting there. So with all this, I see hope. I see a future where we'll have some control over this. I want to urge everybody out here, it's our shared responsibility. We can't just end up, just stay there pointing fingers at these guys. Let's do something about it. I'm a passenger. What's my responsibility? I'm the owner of this bike. What's my responsibility? I'm a dealer. What's my responsibility? I think if all of us just did something around it, it's very easy to fix this sector. It's a good sector. It's an employer. It's earning us a lot of money in our GDP, close to 300 billion Kenya shillings, employing over 2.5 million people. How many livelihoods are depending on that? Over 6 million, 10% of our population. We can't wish it away. It's a sector that is here to live. It's here with us.
It's here to live?
It's here to live with us. So I really say there's hope, but that hope again needs our efforts, needs our synergy together. We can fix this.
Pretty much. Guess what? Maybe we need to call you back so we can even have a weekly border safety.
Sure.
Right? And this studio is quite big.
Sure.
They've been here before, but they've been here before in the studio, and we've spoken to them. They will tell you a myriad of challenges they have.
Sure.
So probably next then we'll bring them with you here so we can talk about some of those challenges that are forcing them not to stick to those road safety regulations. Now, as a passenger, Mr. Musumba is saying, what do you know about your safety? Because if you don't know about it, then you can't blame that guy. Same way you're told, never see a driver do something that you're well aware of, and then you don't speak. All right, taking back to the time that he joined us right here on Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kianke. This has been another edition. Tomorrow is a good one as well to start afresh. Goodbye.